Okay, good.
Yeah, to steal a line from a favorite movie, to open with, Good Evening, Oregon Trail. Now, if you can name that movie and know it's not The Ugly Scoutmaster, then you'll be in pretty good shape. So we have Scott Empekoven tonight. He is going to talk with us from the council executive standpoint from an update. We also have my good friend Jay Scheit on here from the fabulous Benton District. He, in fact, is our council training chair and will give us an update on training, the state of training and requirements and so on. And Jay, I think you had another compadre who was going to show up tonight, but I don't see anybody else on the screen just yet. So we'll hold and wait and expect to see that. And as always, we're recording this so that you can go back into Facebook and see it a little bit later and catch the updates at your leisure. Scott, if you're ready, I'm ready.
Okay. Just a few updates that we've got. Day camp, we actually had a day camp meeting last night. We are looking at having a virtual day camp this year and hoping to make that happen about the second week of August. Still kind of working out some details, and we're going to try to get that done within the next week or so, so we can get word out, start promoting it, have the cost figured out. We're basically just want to cover the cost of the boxes that we're providing to the scouts. But we just felt that a virtual day camp was the right way to go, just to make sure everybody's health was taken care of. And I think we've had some great ideas, and I'm really excited to see the program that they have for the day camp. I think I remember it's Survive Outdoors or something like that is the theme. A lot of survival stuff in there. So look for that information. It should be coming out soon. And like I said, promotion for it will come out, and we're trying to get that out second week of August. Sat down with some people the other day and determined that Camp Baker, we will open the campsites in Camp Baker starting August 1st.
Perfect.
We will not have any of the structures, no showers, no dining hall, no Gratke, but just the campsites. The thing with the campsites is we can plug units into the campsite, and if they're for example, J Vitus, then we can make sure that the next unit isn't booked into that site for 72 hours. So we can make sure, again, the units will have to provide to us a plan on how they plan to maintain that social distancing while they're out there. But that will be open, but none of the indoor facilities will be available to anybody. So that is coming up on August 1st and will be available, and we'll get word out about that as well, probably beginning next week. National Jamboree. We've had some great meetings with our National Jamboree committee. I will tell you, COVID-19 has changed some things. We're really concerned about the cost. Initially, our cost was going to be about $3,900 or so. And with knowing that COVID-19 was having an impact on the finances of several families, of our scouting families, we've decided to trim down the actual tour itself and make that a lot more affordable. So we're in talks with our tour company to try to make sure that we can get that down. My goal is really to try to get it under $3,000 if we can. So we're going to continue that. And right now, I will tell you that our plans are to take 2 patrols of males so that would be 8 and 2 adults with each one of those patrols. So that's 16 male youth, and then 2 female patrols. That would be 16 females. To my knowledge, we've got about 15 of the male spots taken at this point, and we've got 3 of the female spots taken. So there's, but you better get in pretty quickly. And also, so everybody knows, if you have an interest in going to the National Jamboree, and we have some flexibility, we could go, depending on what kind of numbers we get, we could go with 3 male patrols, 1 female patrol. It all depends. We've got some flexibility with that. But also on July 7th, we will have a parents meeting for anybody that's interested, their child is interested, their scout is interested in attending the National Jamboree. They have questions that they want answered. We are having a parents meeting. We will have some people meeting here at the office if they choose to, but we will have a Zoom meeting as well. So if you're interested, please give us a call at the Scout office, and we will provide that Zoom information if you choose to go on by Zoom, and hopefully answer a lot of your questions that you might have about the National Jamboree, which is happening in July of 2021. So interested, please let us know. The other thing I will mention just real quickly is we do have a couple of fundraisers. If there's anybody that enjoys and would like to play golf, our council golf tournament is October 5th at the Eugene Country Club. I actually had lunch over there yesterday, and it was a fairly busy place, at least the course was. But as of right now, we're looking at the 5th of October running that golf tournament. And we do have a great opportunity for scouts to be involved. I went over, one of our board members had something that they donated us today, and is a beautiful Boy Scout, or Scouts BSA, excuse me, Scouts BSA Nutcracker that will be part of the silent auction. But September 18th, virtual auction, and we will have more information about that coming out. Great opportunity for scouts to be involved with this as well. We always have a ton. We'll probably have about 10 to 12 live auction items, and we've got a ton of silent auction items. So great opportunities to get in there. I don't know that we'll have it this year, but I will tell you that last year we had one live auction item that was scouting from around the United States. And one of our volunteers that helped us coordinate the auction contacted every council in the country and said, hey, we'd love to have a patch from your council, and possibly a something that's really kind of represents the area that you come from. And we had barbecue sauces, because apparently everybody in the country thinks they have the best barbecue sauce. So we had a bunch of items. It was a great package, I thought. The problem was we didn't have a lot of true scouters in the room that didn't understand the value of it. So it could have gone better, but we've got those kinds of things. That's really a lot of fun, and it helps provide for the scouting program for our scouts too. So
yeah.
That's all I have to say. I think that's it, Randy. So
okay, can I put in a plug for the National Jamboree, please?
You sure can, Mr. Former leader of the National Jamboree.
I had the pleasure of having gone twice, and in both cases spent 3 weeks with 30,000 of my favorite scouts at the time, between tour and Jamboree. But for those who are going to think about this in the future, it doesn't get any better from a scouting experience than the National Jamboree. Nothing else compares to it. And it's if you're a parent and you haven't really thought about this, this is a once in a lifetime event for nearly every scout that gets an opportunity. And they want to go back, and they will talk about this until they are my age. It's just that dramatic an event. So give it a shot. Jay, are you ready to take it away?
As soon as I unmute.
All right, my dear friend Jay Schott, ready, set, go.
We were attending a training session at Area 1 this last November, and we had a lot of good discussions about a number of different things. One of these is pretty ironic. Several years ago, BSA put together a lot of different online trainings, and a lot of people went to them, and we're kind of not doing the in-person trainings very much. And the thought was, and I can't remember if this was a survey or if it was a thought by many people, that they would prefer that we did in-person training. In fact, to a point that they wanted us to put it explicitly stated in our training plans. Of course, this was in November, and COVID-19 has really changed that. We're all focused on online training now, which is amazing how things turn in just a couple of months on that. There is a lot of online training. Go ahead and get to those. If you go to our Oregon Trail Council website, I believe it's a few tabs over. It's the leader tab. If you press on that, you'll get a few more comments, and then there is a tab for Get Trained. That particular site has all the information you probably need if you're still looking to get trained on there. There's a number of different things that are worthwhile doing, especially if you're a new leader. If you've been around a long time, hey, things have changed. There are some things from trainings you probably should be taking as well. In particular, like hazardous weather. You may have had hazardous weather training just a few years ago. I see they're bringing up that tab. So here's along on the top of this is the Oregon Trail Council website. The pointer's on home. If you move over towards the leader one, several of them over, there's the leadership tab. If you go down now to Get Trained, that's the spot that you will be able to find a lot of good information if you scroll down through here, links to sites to get after your trainings as well. So these are trainings that are coming up, things to look at when you're at myscouting.org, and you'll be able to find what you have been registered for, what trainings you need to take at that. One of them may be hazardous weather. It's not a separate component. It is mixed in with some others that I noticed a little while ago. If you had hazardous weather, I don't know, 10 years ago, something like that, it's time they've updated it, and so it's time to get it again, as well as many other things. I mean, I was a Cub Scout in my youth. I did Cub Scout, I was a Cub Master for many years. The program has still changed has changed again, and so retaking that if you're involved with Cub Scouts.
Yeah, Baden Powell is no longer in charge.
That's true. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention, of course, the COVID-19 aspects. You may be holding one of these patches about Wood Badge, and the dates being, well, it should have already happened, but it didn't. We've used the operative word, it has been postponed, and it has been postponed until next year. That would be April 30th to May 2nd, 2021. And that's the first weekend. The second weekend would be May 22nd to 23rd. So that's just a 5-day course these days. So the operative word is postponed. The other thing that I wanted to talk about that we talked about at the national, the area training session, it was an interesting discussion on how do we get our leaders trained. It's always been a tough point trying to get people that have signed up for these various positions. How do we get them to take just the basic training to make sure that they are trained for their positions, especially when they're going to start working with the youth? I thought it very interesting that I'll use the term seasoned scouters that have been in the training chair positions in some of our metropolitan areas on the West Coast here had noted that they have tried many different things over the various years to try to get those leadership trained numbers up. The more we want all our leaders trained, obviously, they don't seem to, they said that they didn't budge every time they tried different things. And so the only thing that hasn't done yet is to go with the, and now we have like 3 different words to use, one of which we don't want to use, required training. If we require just like YPT, they've got our training numbers up for that into the 90s. It's not that for our other positions, but required training. Essential training is another word that they would prefer that we use. The word mandatory, nobody likes. All over the news about mandatory, nobody likes that. But that's kind of what we're talking about. It's required. It's essential that we get our leaders trained. And there's some thought, there are some councils that have gone, in some districts that have gone in that direction where they require the training before these people are able to work with the youth. They were from those particular councils and districts. They said be ready for pushback come recharter time, because that's when you would find out who isn't trained, who then you have to let go because they're not trained. That's the thing. They thought that probably one of the best ways to do this was to ease in the requirements, so that, like, for example, all scoutmasters would be required to have their training, as opposed to assistant scoutmasters, and that would come in later in a few years as you get down the road. Anyway, that was a discussion point that is good for us to discuss as well. I see Randy just biting at the bit to say something.
Yeah, isn't it also true that if you really believe in scouting as a commitment to teaching leadership to youth, that you really want to be the best and be able to present the right information? I mean, it gets pretty personal when you look at it from that perspective. It's more than just some amorphous, Scott or Randy or Jay saying you got to do training. It really gets personal after a while. Oh,
it helps in what we're trying to do. So if you're working with the youth, there's lots of tips and tricks, and I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So many people have been through before. We know how to work with our various youth, and that's what this training is all about. And then, yes, to get everybody on the same page. In fact, the Wood Badge program and the NYLT program, NYLT, new leader, new
national youth,
wise youth, new youth leaders. I get it, training. Anyway, get them all on the same, saying the same words and speaking the same language so that they can communicate much better. And that's what it's all about. Usually if we're communicating well, we eliminate a lot of the problems that many units get into. Any other discussion points from people that in terms of, do you think we should go to a required training, and how should we do that? Any thoughts on that from others there? I noticed.
Yeah, Jim Wiley joined us. Sherry Haywood joined us. Jim, you got any thoughts about that?
I think make it a requirement and do it soon. Why procrastinate? They're not doing it. And I know guys go, well, I've been a scoutmaster for 39 years. What do I need to be trained for? Well, gee, cars now have air conditioning and automatic in them too. They're still driving in 1945 years. But why not just make it a requirement and throw in the diversity training as part of it too?
Yeah.
You use that as a, hey, we have to make sure everybody's trained. It's just good scouting. It's also liability coverage,
Yeah, it's just.
You take a group of scouts out and you don't have somebody that knows the weather and that kind of stuff and has had that training. We have lawsuits over that right now of we didn't have trained leaders on an outing. I mean.
And we do have a troop in Cascade District that has hit 100% training without twisting a whole lot of arms, but they just decided as a group that it's important. And I think their program shows the results of that group deciding that that's important. Their program is great.
Well, somebody in that unit bought into it and sold it to the rest of them. And it's salesmanship. It's like getting David up there to pound nails on the Kitson Bridge. He bought into it. And so, but I think you just make it a requirement and you make it a good training, and they'll do it and it's over.
Jim, you brought up an interesting quote that I wrote down from my meeting up there, and this is from the people that work at the area and national level. And the quote is that we are teetering on the edge of extinction if we don't follow the training to the letter.
That's right.
True story.
Significant quote there.
Absolutely. But we can explore this a whole lot more. And Jay, you know, I'm on your side about the whole training scenario. You and I've had lots of conversations about this across the years. And from the commissioner standpoint, we think that's critical. There's just not enough of all of us, you know, you and me and all the commissioners and the believers to significantly change where we go. So we're still plugging away at that. But I'm glad you pointed out the OTC BSA website and the training resources that are there. I believe that a lot of people don't know about that information. Let me, if you don't mind, show you a couple of other things that I'd like to get us to understand a little better. Similar topics. This is Scouting Wire. This is one of those things that drops into your email every day once you get signed up. And there's a ton of information in here. This is a national publication. This comes out on the employee side of the world. It comes out on the volunteer side of the world. They have very, very similar information. Where my cursor is sitting is at the Marketing and Membership Hub. And this will lead us into where we're going to be in the weeks ahead. Marketing and membership. This is exciting stuff. BSA Brand Center. Okay. Customizable marketing assets, photos, videos, and more. I sat through a webinar last night that is just incredible. And I wanted to try to get to that bit of information to show you, and I can't get there. But I wanted to show you Scouting Wire just because it's just important. And again, a plug for volunteer training out here. Any other comments or such to amplify for the group? We're going to have some marketing and membership folks on the next couple of weeks. I think we've invited a scouter from Eugene and another one from your neck of the woods up there in Benton that we're hoping to talk about marketing, recruiting, and that sort of thing, and give us a leg up going forward. Anything else for the good of the order?
Randy, do they also market our summer camps and stuff that we need to get people signing up for 2021 real soon here in the next couple of months?
How do you mean?
Well, you said they're marketing people. So what are they just marketing training, or are they marketing everything?
Recruiting.
Oh, recruiting. Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't
follow. From the BSA standpoint? Yeah, that was the branding side.
Okay. I'm sorry.
And what caught my attention was the recruiting webinar last night that had some speakers on there from around the country and some of the very innovative things that they're doing, and some of the you'd call it guerrilla marketing in a different world. And Scott, that was the reason I sent you that Fretwell Award thing last night, because that was the first time I'd run across that, to recognize local educators that are strong in the scouting commitment and that sort of thing. I thought that was very interesting. Okay. So we'll have a couple of good folks on in the next few weeks. And Jay, I appreciate your weighing in tonight. Jim, you were on there last week and gave us a great update on the way the properties are laying out right now for the forward-looking times. Scott, you want to wrap us up here?
Yeah, I was just going to say, just a reminder that the next one will be the next Fireside Chat, the one where we're talking about marketing, will be 2 weeks from tonight. Next week is roundtable week for some districts. And so, and what is that, July 2nd, I think? So we'll actually have our next one on July 9th. I think it'll be very beneficial, especially for Cub Scout packs, because part of the discussion will be, you know, what do we do if we have full access? You know, how are we going to market and recruit membership if we have full access to schools? How are we going to market and recruit if we have limited access to the schools? And then what are we going to do if we have no access, or basically schools are virtual? So, you know, it's going to be a challenging fall, but I think the more people we have involved in that conversation, the more ideas we get.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. Well, thanks for attending tonight, folks. We'll see you on the scouting trail. Jay, as always, it's a pleasure. We'll talk to you folks soon. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Dave.